Welcome to the Monday show, everyone. I said I would be on Monday, and I am holding true to my word. All right. I apologize to you guys sometimes, for the past, some of my videos were sort of inconsistent, but last week you guys asked me, what days that I'm on. So I'm going to try to do my very best to make this an every Monday thing. Right. So that being said, something that that I've brought up during previous videos that I didn't really touch on, and that's my bad. But I had actually someone reach out to me the other day. Actually, I think it was Friday evening to be exact, and they had asked me about what do I do when a prospect says, all of our freight is customer routed. Well, that is something that will happen, right? And it's, this person was new, right? And is probably something I should have talked about a long time ago. But it does happen. I hear it. You're gonna hear it at some point in time. But yeah, what is customer routed freight? Well, let's start with that first. What it is let's say you're calling ABC manufacturer and you do your sales pitch, and for them only to tell you that all their freight is customer routed. Well, what that means is that their customer is the one who is paying the freight bill, setting up the transportation, with their brokers, and they're the ones in charge of picking up the freight and bringing it to them, right? So, you're thinking, all right, well, that's kind of a dead end. Well, who's your customer? They're not going to do that. They're not going to tell you who their customer is, right? So you're thinking, all right, well, this is probably a dead end road for me. Not exactly. What you want to do is when they tell you that all their freight is customer routed, or a majority of their freight is customer routed, is maybe ask them how they handle their inbound freight. Let's assume that ABC manufacturer, they need parts or raw material or something to build what they do, what widgets, let's just say. That's our common example, right? Widgets. So ask them how they handle their inbound freight. Maybe they need assistance with that. Maybe, because I think that some transportation managers automatically assume that you're looking for outbound freight. Doesn't necessarily have to be that. Maybe they're in Atlanta, Georgia, and they're getting stuff from Detroit. Okay, but their outbound from Atlanta is all handled by their customer. So ask them how they handle their inbound freight. Also, ask another second follow-up question would be, how do they handle customer routed delays, right? So if their customer is not getting the trucks in to pick up that freight in a timely fashion, how do they handle that, right? Because that causes delays on their end. So, what happens at that point? Do they look for outside brokers or carriers for that kind of a situation? And that's where you kind of get your foot in the door, right? And it might not be today, it might not be tomorrow, it might not be next week, but at some point in time, if they've said, hey, yeah, send me over your packet, let's get set up, and if something happens, where I need your assistance, then I'll let you know about it. Okay. And I have had that happen over the years. I have had customers that said, well, we're not real busy right now, or we don't really have anything at the moment, all our stuff is customer routed, da 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 da. And then all of a sudden, boom, one day I get a phone call, say, hey, this is Joe over at ABC Manufacturing. Yeah, hey Joe, how you doing? Good, and it goes from there. I was just calling to find out if maybe you had a truck that could pick up today by 5 or something. You know, maybe the customer's truck that they had going in there broke down or something. Maybe it was a reefer load and something happened with the reefer unit on that trailer, right? There's a bajillion possibilities. Okay. And then even if you know you do those follow-up questions and they still say no, you know, or whatever, I know the time frame, depending upon who you talk to, some say later, some say sooner. One thing I found is you follow up at least once every month, um, you know, until they tell you to, hey, just quit calling, right? Uh, I would follow up at least once a month, because supply chain changes regularly, right? Um, Maybe things just aren't working out, you know, with the whole customer routed thing. You know, they thought, oh, yeah, great, let them handle it. But because they're not handling it or their brokers aren't handling it, you know, the way it needs to be handled, it's causing delays and backups on their end and their warehouses and things. Uh, you know, we can't do this. We've got to get this out. So, you know, that may be your shot, right? Um, or, you know, like I said, they might say, hey, my customer was asking me, do I have anybody that might be able to help out? Their other broker's been unreliable, or, you know, the trucks they're sending in have just, they're constantly breaking down. They're not reliable. Here's your shot. Get a hold of Gail at XYZ sales or something, you know. So yeah, do those follow-up questions, and keep following up at least once a month. And you know, odds are, you know, at some point in time you're going to get in. Maybe not with all of them, but you will get in eventually. Rather than just going, oh, all your stuff's customer routed. I've heard that before. That's a dead end avenue for me, and move on to the next one. No, not necessarily. Um, if you guys have any questions about this or anything else, maybe something you guys would like me to talk about next week, by all means, hit me up. Like I said, this is something that I probably should have talked about in previous videos, but I just hadn't. And it was, you know, someone had reached out to me last Friday evening and, you know, and asked me about it. And they're like, I keep getting all these customers saying, oh, all of my stuff is customer owned. And sometimes you'll get a shipper that or prospect that says that all of their freight is customer routed. Maybe they're just having a bad day and they just want you off the phone, right? This is why we do our follow-ups. You know, until they tell you to quit calling, keep doing your follow-ups, right? Maybe this is a shipper that, you know, really fits, you know, in an area that one of your lanes for one of your regular carriers or something. Maybe it was a recommendation you got from a carrier saying, hey, I love picking up at this place, but I don't like the broker that I'm working with. Can you get in there for me? Yeah, keep following up. Guys, if you have any questions, let me know. That's what I'm here for. That's why I like to do these lives. Because every once in a while, you know, you guys jump on and you have questions about something, even if it's unrelated. But yeah, customer routed, like I said, not necessarily a dead end avenue. Just make sure you're using those follow-up questions and checking back in every month. Like I said, some people say 3 to 6 months, every 2 months, every 2 to 3 months, whatever. I prefer every month. Let them remember you, right? The more often that you follow up, the more apt that they're going to say, hey, this guy really wants to work with us. Or, you know, rather than, and I've even had shippers before say, you know, we're kind of slow right now, but just keep checking in with me. But if you're not checking in at least once a week or every 3 days, they're going to forget about you. You're not that serious about, you know, getting set up with them and handling their freight. So that's something that, you know, we need to do when you hear that. No questions from you guys on a Monday? Wow. All right. Well, um, no worries then. I keep checking the chat. But all right, well then I guess I hope you guys found this video helpful and it helps you out this week when you're calling and you know you get a prospect that's says, hey, all of our stuff's customer routed. Don't let it just go right there. All right. Again, I love y'all. I appreciate you subscribing, hitting that bell notification, hitting that thumbs up button, sharing. You know the deal. Um, so with that, I will leave you to it. Wish you all the best of success and very happy holiday and Merry Christmas. And we'll see you all right back here next Monday. All right. As always, be kind to one another. Bye bye now.